"6:45 a.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Mario Vijayawardena. The headlines. The island-wide travel restriction was lifted from 4 a.m. today. Travel restrictions will be imposed from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. daily from today until the 31st of May. The travel restriction between provinces will remain in force. The public is requested to attend to their day-to-day work based on the last digit of their identity card. The public is advised to adhere to this rule strictly. The daily COVID-19 cases in Sri Lanka hit 2,275 yesterday. Meanwhile, 1,102 more recoveries reported in Sri Lanka. COVID, 21 more victims moved the death toll to 962. The Sri Lanka Army troops launched a number of operations yesterday to provide relief to the people affected by the adverse weather conditions. In news overseas, Israel-Gaza conflict, Gazan officials say Sunday was deadliest day. In sports, Luis Suarez scored a dramatic late winner as Atletico Madrid fought back to beat Osasuna. The island-wide travel restriction was lifted from 4 a.m. today. However, travel restrictions will be imposed from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. daily from today until the 31st of May. Meanwhile, the police media spokesperson DIG Ajit Rohana said those who leave their houses for non-essential activities from today until May 31st should leave according to the last digit of the national ID, the driving license or their passport. Hence, on odd days, those who have 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9 as the last digit of the national ID can leave their premises. On even days, those who have 0, 2, 4, 6 and 8 as the last digit on the ID can leave their premises. The travel restriction between provinces will remain in force until the 31st of May. The public is requested to attend to their day-to-day work if necessary based on the last digit of their identity card. The public is advised to adhere to this rule strictly. The Sri Lanka Transport Board says buses operated as per usual from 4 a.m. today as the travel restrictions are lifted across the island. The chairman of the SLTB, Kingsley Ranawaka, addressing a media briefing, said buses will not travel across provinces owing to the interprovincial travel restrictions that are effective until the 31st of May. Ranawaka, however, added a limited number of buses will be in operation between provinces to facilitate the employees in the essential services sector. He said instructions have been issued to inspect the service IDs of passengers if required to determine if they are essential service employees. Sri Lanka's COVID-19 death toll saw an uptick yesterday as the Director General of Health Services confirmed 21 more victims. As per official data, new fatalities have moved the total to 962. The deaths were reported from Anuradhapura, Moratua, Mirigama, Nebada, Badulla, Bulat Sinhala, Imaduwa, Murudgahamula, Ingiriya, Gelioya, Jaffna, Handapangoda, Habaraduwa, Ambilipitiya, Nakia Denia, Gala, Kadavata, Mahayava, Halyala and the Kalutara South areas. Among the dead is a 37-year-old from Badulla. He had been transferred from the Bandaravela Hospital to the General Hospital in Badulla, where he died due to septic shock with multi-organ failure, COVID pneumonia, pulmonary edema and diabetes. COVID pneumonia was identified as a cause of death of the majority of the victims according to reports. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The epidemiology unit of the Health Ministry reported that 543 more persons tested positive for COVID-19 in Sri Lanka yesterday as a daily count of the new cases moved to 2,275. According to the Government Information Department, 2,212 of the new cases reported yesterday are associated with the New Year coronavirus cluster. The remaining 63 were identified as arrivals from foreign countries. This brings the total number of confirmed cases of the coronavirus reported in the country to 142,746. As many as 118,322 recoveries and 962 deaths have been confirmed in Sri Lanka since the outbreak of the pandemic. The epidemiology unit's data showed that 23,462 active cases are currently under medical care. The Ministry of Health reports that 1,102 more patients who were being treated for COVID-19 have recovered and have been discharged from hospitals within the last 24 hours. This increases the total number of coronavirus recoveries in the country to 118,322. Sri Lanka has so far reported 142,746 positive cases of COVID-19, while presently a total of 21,208 infected patients are being treated at hospitals and treatment centres. The death toll due to the virus has risen to 962. The Sri Lanka Army troops launched a number of operations yesterday to provide relief to the people affected by the adverse weather conditions. Troops provided relief to those affected by the floods caused by the overflowing of the tributary of the Benthara River, as well as those affected in the Akurassa, Kamburupitiya, Athuraliya and Malimbada areas. Troops also came to the assistance of the people affected by the floods due to the torrential rains in the Alpitiya, Neluva, Baddegama, Tavalama, Yakkalamulla, Nagoda and Niyagama divisional secretariats and by landslides in the Varukanda area in Neluva. Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka artillery troops rushed to the Gampaha town and its suburbs to provide relief and to rescue the flood-affected civilians, most of whom remained stranded in their homes after flood levels submerged their homes, business places and shelters. The spilling of the Attunugala Oya and the other waterways that run across the town completely inundated the area with floodwaters, cutting off supply avenues. World Telecommunication and Information Society Day falls today. The day had previously been known as World Telecommunication Day, and to commemorate the founding of the International Telecommunication Union on the 17th of May 1865. It was instituted by the Plenipotentiary Conference in Malaga in 1973. The main objective of the day was to raise global awareness of social changes brought about by the internet and new technology. It also aims to help reduce the digital divide. That's local news.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
The Sri Lanka Army troops launched a number of operations yesterday to provide relief to the people affected by the adverse weather conditions. Troops provided relief to those affected by the floods caused by the overflowing of a tributary of the Benthara River, as well as those affected in Akurassa, Kamburupitiya, Athuraliya and Malimbada. Troops also came to the assistance of the people affected by the floods due to torrential rains in Alpitiya, Neluva, Baddegama, Tavalama, Yakkalamulla, Nagoda and Niyagama in the divisional secretariats, and by landslides in the Varukanda area in Neluva.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
And now in Watchlight, The residents in many city limits complain of the non-collection of garbage on time. As a result, the garbage gets piled up and sometimes is seen scattered all over the place. This has caused immense difficulties to the local residents and motorists. This is for the attention of the municipal councils and the urban councils authorities. That was Watchlight, and now in world news headlines. Israel-Gaza conflict, Gazan officials say Sunday was deadliest day. Myanmar military take rebel town of Mindat in Chinland. Houston tiger animal missing for a week, located. Palestinian officials in Gaza say Sunday was the deadliest day since the current fighting with Israel began. More than 40 people were killed in the latest Israeli airstrikes on Gaza, officials there say. Israel's army say Palestinian militants have fired more than 3,000 rockets at Israel over the past week. The United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has warned that further fighting could plunge the region into an uncontainable crisis. Myanmar's military has entered a small town in the western Chin state which took up arms against them 3 weeks ago. Activists from the volunteer Shinlan Defense Force say they have retreated from Mindat to spare the town further bombardment. Mindat is one of several towns where opponents of the military have armed themselves. Nearly 800 people have died in mainly unarmed protests at February's coup, which ousted the elected government. A tiger that was missing for a week after being spotted roaming around a Houston neighborhood has been found, the police confirmed. India, the 9-month-old Bengal tiger, was turned into police on Saturday and is said to be in good health. Footage shared on social media last week appeared to show the tiger wandering around the streets in the west of the Texan city. The tiger will be delivered to an animal sanctuary. And now the main points of the world news segment once again. Israel-Gaza conflict, Gazan officials say Sunday was deadliest day. Myanmar military take rebel town of Mindat in Shinland. Houston tiger animal missing for a week, located. That was world news, and now in development news, the longest irrigational tunnel in the South Asian region will be constructed in the north-central province under the Maha Ella project. In addition, 5,000 tanks will be renovated under this project. The construction work commenced in February under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The main objective is to provide a water supply to the Rajarhat region from the Moragahakanda and Kaluganga reservoirs.
Sports News is brought to you by...
When Aya bought a motorbike, he bought 2 helmets. So sweet of him. I'm sure the other one is for me.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neveyi.
Luis Suarez scored a dramatic late win as Atletico Madrid fought back to beat Osasuna and put themselves on the verge of a First La Liga title for 7 years. Diego Simon's side now travel to Valladolid in their final game, knowing that a win will clinch the title. Altibudme's header had put Osasuna on course for a shock win and seen Real Madrid briefly top the table.
My wife always sets a full lunch table even if it's just the 2 of us. She always expects people to drop by, like maybe the army.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neveyi.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
The Merchant Bank of Sri Lanka and Finance PLC has made a strong turnaround by posting a profit during one of the worst affected periods in recent history, demonstrating its ability and resilience to overcome obstacles, but it has managed to turn the situation around to post a profit. The pre-tax profit growth was 296% up from pre-tax loss growth of 116% in the first quarter of 2020. Such profits are a direct result of the institution-wide changes that have been put in place to deal with the pandemic. The net interest income increased 70% to 718 million rupees from 422 million rupees in the first quarter of 2020.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news. Courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
Sri Lanka is planning to allow Russian tourists to visit Sri Lanka once again under the bubble concept. The former ambassador to Sri Lanka, Udayanga Viratunga, is once again stepping into the revival of the depleted tourism industry as the key initiator of this project. In an interview with the media, he said that they are planning to open a tourism corridor between Russia and Colombo under the COVID bubble concept. Quote, "We have successfully talked to Sri Lankan Airlines and another leading carrier in Russia to operate direct flights once again, and Sri Lanka is expected to operate 2 weekly flights," unquote, he said.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasir, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
The Met Department says showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the central, Sabaragamuwa, over, eastern and the north-central provinces during the evening or night. Several spells of light showers will occur in the western and the northwestern provinces and in the Gala and Mathura districts. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during the thunder showers. This weather report was issued this morning at 4:30 a.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasir, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And now the headlines of this news broadcast once again. The island-wide travel restriction was lifted from 4 a.m. today. Travel restrictions will be imposed from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. daily from today until the 31st of May. The travel restriction between provinces will remain in force. The public is requested to attend to their day-to-day work based on the last digit of their identity card. The public is advised to adhere to this rule strictly. The daily COVID-19 cases in Sri Lanka hit 2,275 yesterday. Meanwhile, 1,102 more recoveries reported in Sri Lanka. COVID, 21 more victims, moved the death toll to 962. The Sri Lanka Army troops launched a number of operations yesterday to provide relief to the people affected by the adverse weather conditions. In news overseas, Israel-Gaza conflict, Gazan officials say Sunday was deadliest day. In sports, Luis Suarez scored dramatic late winners at Atletico Madrid, fought back to beat Osasuna. That concludes this news broadcast, and now it's back to your host as always on a Monday morning after her break. Sharifa Tahir on the other side. Over to you, Shari.